If you weren't with us this week, we've been working on the daily Riva guard. So our focus has been understanding how to control the position, how to transition there from the collar and sleeve we did last week. And then once we did this, we accomplished our side sweep by creating a push-pull off balance to sweep into the side and come up to knee cut. What we're going to look at tonight is going to be, hopefully, ultimately, another sweep. But before we get to that, we want to talk about a guard retention drill that'll help us maintain the daily Riva guard. To do this, we're actually going to use another guard, that being the reverse daily Riva. Now, this always sounds scary and complicated, but it's actually just as easy as the daily Riva is. So what we're going to do is called the switching drill. The switching drill works like this. The top person is going to be able to move side to side to work on their dexterity and movement while passing, and the bottom person will be, of course, using the reverse daily Riva. Let's take a look. So I'm going to have Coach on his back here. He's just going to be in a recumbent position in that good knee-elbow connection. The top person, I'm just going to have you start to just keep things super, super simple. I just want you to take both your hands. You're going to grab your partner's belt or just put your hands on their hips. It doesn't matter, either one. We're going to be almost in like a bear crawl position. I'll show this from a different view in a moment. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to walk and almost jump my body to one side as I put my knee into that knee cut position like we ended with after that side sweep. As I do that, I want the bottom person to maintain your knee-elbow connection. You're going to track your partner by following them with your headlights, and then you're going to insert the reverse daily Riva hook. Let's look at a first repetition. So now, Coach Seth has tracked me with his frames, and he's put in the reverse daily Riva hook. So the reverse daily Riva is still a shoelace style hook, right, where I'm using the shoelaces, but instead of an outside hook, it's an inside. He's hooking the inside of my leg. So again, daily Riva is on the outside, reverse daily Riva is on the inside. So the drill itself is going to be very simple. The top player will move from side to side, kind of moving in a triangle style of position, right? I go here, I'll come back, I'll go to the other side, I'll come back. Again, my hands will never leave their hips. Bottom person will be tracking them side to side, inserting the reverse daily Riva. Let's look at a few reps here. Slow motion, I hop forward into my knee cut. Look how I'm nice and low. I'm not trying to fall on top of him. I'm also not trying to just stand like this. Contrary to what you may think, if I'm standing up, I'm not helping the bottom person by making it like easier because I'm not applying my weight. I actually am making it harder. He can't do reverse daily Riva if I'm just standing here. I have to drive my weight on top of him so I create, again, that bent knee that we were talking about last class. So now he can insert the reverse daily Riva. Again, just keep the hands here. Look, I'm going to hop back. Now I'm going to go to the other side. Bottom person, stay balled up. If you're flat on your back, you're not going to have a guard. We have to stay balled up so that we're more mobile. Again, we're tracking with our hands. So it's like his hands are constantly following me, like he's trying to keep the headlights of a car shining on me at all times. Let's see this from a rear view. So again, top player, hands on the hips, bear crawl position. So look how my feet are kind of back behind me. I'm going to hop forward. 1, come back. 2, come back. 3, come back. 4. Okay, 4 times, and then switch top and bottom. This is a very simple drill, just kind of get us used to that reverse daily Riva position, and then we're going to talk about how to actually use that to help you reset your guard. Does anybody have any questions? All right, guys, let's pair up 4 for 4. 1, 2. Does anybody have any questions on this first sort of prerequisite drill, right? If we were to just jump right into our daily Riva recovery drill, then you would be lost because we don't have the context of this reverse daily Riva position. Before we can get into that drill, let's just talk about what the top person needs to do now. The top person needs to give an active and realistic threat to the bottom player. Let's check it out. So I'm going to have Coach start in daily Riva. So for the top person, we're now going to do a drill where you're going to get to that knee cut position, but you're going to do it in an actual technical fashion. Okay? So when I'm here and I'm encountering this daily Riva position, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to step away from his guard to create space to allow me to insert the knee cut. I'm going to demonstrate it slowly, and then we'll talk about it. Here we go. And my partner will then go to reverse daily Riva. So for this particular drill, I'm not trying to engage him straight on. If I just try to move into his frames, I'm not going to disintegrate his bones. I need to make sure that I'm first disengaging from his frames. So I'm going to have both my hands framing on his legs. I'm going to step away from the foot that's pushing me here. I'm going to step not straight back, because if I step straight back, he'll just track me and widen my base. I'm going to step at a slight backwards angle. Obviously, I don't want to go too far. If I go back too far, now he just accomplishes a side sweep, and he puts me down, just like we did on Tuesday. So I'm stepping back just at a slight angle here. Now, I'm going to step my leg over this foot. As soon as I do this, I'm now going to slide my knee to that exact same knee cut position you guys were just working on a moment ago, and the bottom person will assume the reverse de la Riva. And now, you can see how this is identical to the position that you guys were just working on. Okay, so again, I want the top player to have a good understanding of how we're going to try to threaten the bottom player. Holding onto their legs, I step away from this foot, I step over. Now he's no longer pushing my leg. From here, I'm going to start to slide this knee over his thigh. I'm obviously not going to go straight down the middle. That's unnecessary, and it's also dangerous. I'm going to go into the thigh here. My partner tracks me and inserts the reverse de la Riva. For the bottom person, let's switch up top and bottom real quick. For the bottom person, I now want you to incorporate a pummel. So we'll talk about what that means. So I'm going to have him start here in reverse in de la Riva. He's going to get to that reverse de la Riva position. So now, before we just reset and stand up and do another repetition, all I want the bottom person now to do is take their top leg and step on their partner. We call this a pummel. Okay, I'm pummeling my leg to get a frame back on him. So I'm simply, again, going to take my top foot, I'm going to circle it and step on his body. You can step wherever you can. Maybe you can only step on the shoulder. That's fine. Maybe you can step all the way to the hip. That's best. But I just want the bottom person to start to develop the ability to pummel their legs to an inside position. So again, from here, I keep my frames up. See how my hands are not doing anything special right now? Now I'm going to pummel, and we'll stand up and reset. Okay, so again, we'll start back in de la Riva. He's going to step in a knee cut. I go reverse de la Riva. I pummel, and we reset. Again, starting in de la Riva. He attacks reverse de la Riva. Again, from here, slow motion. I'm just going to take my top foot. If you feel like he's a little close to you, we can start to frame in order to pummel here. Okay? But we need to be able to develop the ability to pummel our legs to an inside position in between our opponent's arms to prevent them from passing our guard. This is a very fundamental guard retention technique. So let's work that in now to our opponent attacking the knee cut to set up the reverse de la Riva. Any questions? Yes, Gabe. No, you can just step wherever is comfortable. Like if you can only step on the shoulder, step on the shoulder. Ideally, like aim for the hip, like center mass. I want to aim for the thing, the most biggest part of their body. Step on that. But if that's like hard for you to do in the beginning, just step on their shoulder. Okay, guys? Let's work this one, and then we'll actually get to our guard retention drill that we'll focus on tonight. Let's go 1, 2. Cool, cool, cool. So does anybody have any questions on these two like prerequisite drills, right? It's the drill for what does the bottom person do, and then we just did the drill for what does the top person do. The reason that we're doing these like prerequisite drills is because, again, it's important to know what you're supposed to be doing with your body in Jiu Jitsu. If we're just kind of like learning techniques and we're doing them on people who are not even doing like real Jiu Jitsu reactions, then it doesn't really help you out. We want to understand what are the actual reactions that we should be doing on both sides, so that way we're learning how to actively apply our Jiu Jitsu. Now we're going to talk about how to reset our de la Riva. Quick tangent. The reverse de la Riva, it's a good position. However, it's a very difficult position to maintain and to attack from. We can attack from there. However, we can use it as a position like we just saw to stop our opponent from knee cutting. And then when we have the opportunity, use it to reset back to de la Riva. Because the de la Riva just provides us with more control overall. We have more control over their legs. They're not already in a diving, sort of gravity-assisted position into a pass, and we can, of course, reset. So let's now look at how we're going to reset back to the de la Riva. All right, guys? If you can get good at these drills that we're doing right now, your guard retention is going to go through the roof. And like we always say, as a beginner, number one, you need to focus on guard retention. Nothing else as important as that. So let's look now. We're going to start at the same thing. I'll just start from pulling guard. Okay, so we'll be up on our feet. Okay, so I'm going to start by pulling guard here. I'm going to set up de la Riva. My opponent's going to do the same thing. They're going to step over, and I'm going to go here. Okay, so now we're in reverse de la Riva. Now, when they go to reverse de la Riva, you can keep the hand on the collar. I was telling this to one group. I can keep the hand on the collar and use this to start to frame and push them away. Now, from this position, just like we did before, I want to high pummel my leg and step on him. If you feel inclined to do so, you can even grab their sleeve, and now you're using what we call a lasso, where I'm using my foot to wrap their arm up. But now, how do I get back to the De La Riva from here? Well, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep my foot in this high pommel position as I retract my other leg and step. Now, by using this foot, I'm gonna push off of him and swing myself back to De La Riva. Now look at how much of an angle that created. That's a very dominant angle. If you remember what we did last class, once you create that angle, you can immediately start to off-balance them and come up into your sweep. So you can start to see how our defense facilitates our offense. Let's look at this again. Again, I'll just start by pulling guard just so that we get those extra reps in. So we're both gripping up strong here. I'll do it from a slightly different angle. Okay, so I pull. I set up my De La Riva. He steps over. Boom. Keep this hand on the collar, okay? We're using this hand to frame and push them away from us. Again, I'm gonna high leg. You can grab onto their sleeve if you wanna work on your lasso. Now from here, I'm gonna take out my other foot and I'm gonna step on his hip. I wanna step on his hip because that's an easier thing to hold myself, to push off of. If I try to push off of his knee, the knee's very mobile, okay? It even moves away from me. So I don't wanna push on the knee. I wanna try to step on his hip. Now, once I'm stepping on the hip, I'm gonna take my foot off and I'm gonna push myself away from him as I lift and swing. If I try to stay flat on my back, it's very hard to move. So look how I lift my back up and swing to the other side. Once I'm here, I always go back to that ankle grip. Now that I have the ankle, like we saw on Tuesday, we can push, pull, and dump them over. Don't worry about the sweep at the end. I just want to show so that we have the context of like where we can go after this. Okay, I'll show one more time from the front. So we're incorporating the first two drills that we worked on tonight. Again, I pull. Set up my De La Riva. He attacks the knee cut. I high leg, step, and go back to my De La Riva. Once I'm here, I should have a very good angle on him. Like we say, you should be looking in his ear, okay? If I'm head on with him like this is never a good position to be in De La Riva. My hook barely fits in. So again, look how I swing and I lift my chest up. That helps me make my body more mobile. Here, and I get into my strong position. Let's see this one more time. We'll do it from this view. Okay, slow motion here. Now I'm back to my De La Riva. Guys, look, always find that ankle grip. This is how you slow them down. Okay, guys? Does anybody have any questions? So we're just taking those first two drills, putting them together, and then at the end, all we're gonna do, keep a strong frame, step on their hip, and swing yourself back over to grab the ankle and return to your De La Riva. Okay, any questions, guys? Anyone need to see it again? Let's go, 1, 2. All right, everybody. So does anybody have any questions on this recovery drill that we just worked on? We're gonna get one more chance to practice this. We'll just throw a little free choice technique in the end. So a couple things that I was noticing here. Number one, make sure that we're going slow enough to get all the pieces in. We're not rushing, okay? Make sure that you're accomplishing your goal with these movements. It's not just trying to rush to the finish, okay? Each movement has a purpose, either building frames or creating movement. So one thing that I was noticing is that from the De La Riva here, as my opponent stepped over, some of us were immediately letting go. Try to keep the collar grip, okay? So try to keep that collar grip. When he steps over, keep the collar grip, because that's my frame here. So I'm gonna be framing and pushing him away. Now, if I wanna go for that lasso guard, remember, I can't grab up high. If I grab high, my leg gets caught, right? I'm blocking my own leg. So we grab at the bottom of the sleeve. And there's my lasso, okay? So now you're in reverse De La Riva with a lasso, okay? Now from this position, as I start to swing to the other side, again, I take this foot out, I start to step. Try not to lift this leg too high, because I know you want to build momentum. So you're going to do sometimes like lift and swing. But what's the problem with that? If I lift this leg up too high, he can use his other hand to get underneath it and now start to pin it to the mat. Oh, and now he's passing. So remember, if you need to build momentum, pump your knee. So I pull my knee back, right? Knee-elbow connection, and then I use that to help me spin under. And again, once I'm in this position, I'm nice and perpendicular. Now, here's what we're gonna do to finish this up, guys. I'm gonna give you all a choice. You can now attack one of either two sweeps. You can do that side sweep like you did last class, or if you recall last week, we did our overhead sweep. If you'd like to, you can work that exact same sweep from the De La Riva. So let me just show both options real quick. For our side sweep, I push my partner away, I pull them towards me to load them up, and I steer them to the side I'm controlling. As soon as I'm here, I use my forehead and knee to build up into my knee cut position. Very powerful sweep. Last week, we were playing with collar and sleeve. We did an overhead sweep, and we can do that exact same sweep from the De La Riva. If I want to do my overhead sweep, I'm just going to let go of the ankle and grab the sleeve like we did, okay? Either position, high or low, but just keep the De La Riva hook in, because with this De La Riva hook, I'm still going to be able to lift him, and now I can turn him a little bit easier in the air. Remember, I want to get his nose over mine, so I'm going to start to pull him forward, extend, and back roll as you drop your mic, okay? So if you remember that overhead sweep, feel free to play around with that one. Otherwise, if you were here on Tuesday, let's add in that side sweep. But what I want is I want the entire chain to occur. Pull, set up De La Riva. They start to pass, you set up reverse De La Riva to reset back to the De La Riva, and then you sweep them. You guys can start to see how we're building this chain of movements and building confidence within each of these techniques because you're seeing the context that goes behind all of it. So let me just show you what the entire drill might look like. At the end, I'll do the overhead sweep. Here we go. From here, overhead sweep. Okay, I'll do another option. This time I'll finish with a shin sweep. Again, if you'd like to, you can immediately start off with the cross collar grip or transition there at the end. So with your side sweep, take him to the side, overhead sweep, over your head. Cool? If you were not here for either one of these two sweeps, just stick with what you're comfortable with. If you just want to continue to practice the guard retention, do that. If you want to try one of these two sweeps, be my guest. Okay, any questions, guys? Let's finish up with our whole series of events. Let's go, 1, 2.